supremacy!
Yes to humanity!
No white supremacy!
Yes to humanity!
No white supremacy!
Yes to humanity!
On October 15, over 1,000 people gathered at Queen's Park in Toronto to rally and unite in solidarity against the rise of white supremacy in Canada. This was done in response to the recent white supremacist rallies in Lacolle, Quebec, and Peterborough, Ontario, including the rise of hate crimes committed in Canada in the name of white supremacy and Islamophobia.
Nazi scum has got to go.
Nazi scum has got to go.
I don't know what I've been told.
I don't know what I've been told.
Nazi scum has got to go.
The Socialists, the Black Lives Matter group, leaders from the Indigenous community, Muslim leaders, and many other communities were present at the rally. There was a general understanding among the speakers and the protesters on the causes and the root problem of white supremacy.
In Quebec, what we've seen is a lot of refugees entering the country, fleeing from war, and the politicians have essentially been telling the people the reason that we have to carry out austerity, the reason you're seeing cuts in the services that the government provides you is because the refugees are so expensive, which is nonsense, but they'd rather have us blaming each other than blaming them. So the main cause of white supremacy is capitalist crises.
We must acknowledge white supremacy is institutionalized and regulated by the state. It is global and systemic.
That inability to acknowledge the issues that we have right here at home are the reasons that we're seeing this recent rise of white supremacy.
Immigrants under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Refugees under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Refugees are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Last January, 6 Muslim men were killed at a mosque in Quebec by a white supremacist. The speakers at the rally made mention of this multiple times.
Canada is not immune to the racist, white supremacist violence. It exists in this country, and we only need to think back to this past January, when we all witnessed a horrifying display of terrorism and white supremacy. When 6 Muslim brothers were gunned down in a place of worship in a Quebec City mosque. Our community was still grieving. They were still grieving while white supremacists rallied and came out and vandalized other local mosques in the area.
Even though 6 people were murdered by a white supremacist in Quebec City, and even though 19 people were injured, and even though for the first time in Canadian history, people organized across the country against Islamophobia and white supremacy, the largest uprising of its kind, some of y'all decided to engage in white supremacy and Islamophobia.
Side by side with and for each other, for our black folks, for indigenous folks, for trans folks, Muslim folks, immigrant folks, we will stand united because it is all of us